How's it going, guys? Baldur here, and while it may not look like much with all the fog, I'm currently in Interlaken Airport in the Swiss Alps. I think I pronounced that correctly. I'm here to introduce you to a new series where I go to places that have a significant pop culture impact. It could be movies, it could be shows, music, video games, memes, anything that kind of invaded the pop culture, bubble. And I will fly to the locations that are popular in the said pop culture. Today, I will be taking a look at Piz Gloria from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is the one and only James Bond film to star George Lazenby. Cue the music. So, what can I say about On Her Majesty's Secret Service? Well, it is the one and only James Bond movie to have George Lazenby as James Bond. George Lazenby wasn't necessarily that much of an actor by the time he got the role, but he was so good at convincing the producers and holding up the facade that he was an actor that they decided to give him a chance, and I think he performed really well. You could tell that he wasn't really much of an actor. His presence on the film was a little bit stiff. He was definitely a good fighter, though. But one of the things that I really liked about him as James Bond is the end. So, the Bond girl is named Teresa, or Tracy. She was portrayed by Diana Rigg, who I think is probably the hottest fucking Bond girl on the planet. Hell, even looking at her in Game of Thrones as Lady Tyrell, I would pound her granny ass. Wait, where was I going with this? Oh, anyway, needless to say, after production was finished with the film, they were already trying to get Sean Connery in with one last film, which was Diamonds Are Forever. The problem with Diamonds Are Forever is that you could tell that Sean Connery did not want to be there, which kind of sucks, if you ask me. But, needless to say, let's talk about the location, Piz Gloria. So Piz Gloria is a revolving restaurant on top of a mountain in the Swiss Alps. It was also partly under construction when they decided to use it as the place for the evil Bond lair for Ernst Stavro Blofeld, and it was actually pretty incredible with the views. Regardless, though, after the filming of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the restaurant still managed to maintain the name Piz Gloria, and they decided to turn it into a James Bond themed restaurant. It's actually kind of crazy to see these types of restaurants, but you can go there. It's completely James Bond themed. You have 007, silverware, dishware, glassware. Even the burgers seem to be branded with the 007 logo on the bun. It's crazy to see. But either way, what you see over to your left, or my left, is this ski hub called Berg. And through there, you'll see that there is this road heading alongside the mountains, all the way up to the peak. And here is where Piz Gloria is. So, one of the things that is unfortunately disappointing is that Piz Gloria is not completely 100% modeled. In fact, it pretty much just has a building as a placeholder, which is, it's fine. But as you can tell off of the Bing maps, that there is definitely some, you can definitely tell that it is Piz Gloria because that's how it's shaped. It just happens to be painted on the mountain. And ignore the landing gear. Bitchin' Betty, you are not in control of me.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
Plus, I was kind of doing this as a slow flight. But anyway, going back to this.
Landing gear.
So as you can tell, Piz Gloria
Landing gear.
is just has a building as a placeholder. Going into slow flight, though, you can start seeing more of the details. So, crossing there, as you can tell, there's definitely a flat 2D image of Piz Gloria and a building there as a placeholder. But yeah, that is the evil Ernstavo Blofeld lair that was on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Now notice that it is on a very steep cliff. And since it's on a very steep cliff, it's actually pretty dangerous of a ski down. But hey, I'm going to do the same thing with a plane and dive into the great unknown. Which, by the way, is pretty dangerous, if you could no doubt tell. But one of the beautiful things about this plane is that a lot of planes in this game actually have it, but you'll notice that there is an artificial map, an artificial 3D map that you can use to navigate. And this is one of the experiments that I decided to do. Apparently, it is good enough for me to fly in absolute zero visibility IFR conditions. So, if there are no visual flight rules, we have to go with the instrument flight. But yeah, it is actually pretty crazy to think about it, but there are a lot of places in the world where things are filmed, and this is probably, I want to say, either the most or second most popular landmark that was ever in the James Bond series. I believe that number one would probably be the satellite dish from GoldenEye. You know, to control the GoldenEye satellite and yada yada yada. You get the idea. But neither way, you know, one of the things is that I haven't really paid much attention to Switzerland, even though I absolutely love the Alps. The Alps are really beautiful. I grew up in the mountains. In fact, I pretty much grew up right on literally a mountain, so, you know, it's one of those things. But there's nothing wrong with a little bit of canyon flying, as long as we avoid some cumulogranite. And when we see this split in the river, we are going to be taking the left, and then we will end up heading towards the airport, going in for a landing, and that is it. And now we have to make this crazy turn. I guess it wasn't that crazy, but it is kind of nerve-wracking, or it was nerve-wracking at the time. If you haven't noticed, this is a pre-recorded session, but it's one of those things that I had to do. But needless to say, there is some very crazy detail and accuracy going on with just the instruments alone. Allow me to show you what it's like to land on just instruments. Decision height? I have no idea what that is. At least not in this game.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
So, this is what people in the Air Force call a pucker factor. I'll give this an 11 out of 10. Yeah, I absolutely love how the instruments can just guide me to the runway like that. It's completely 100%, instrument, no visual, no way I could even find the airport unless, I had those instruments. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, you have a nice day.